Yeah.
One,
But
is it one town hall or one town hall
I think
plaza?
it's spelled out one.
Oh, one
Number one, I think it's spelled out.
West Millennium, and then Town
Yeah,
Hall
I think so,
Plaza.
yeah. Try both ways.
It's some combination of that.
Thanks.
No,
I tried to spell it out one time.
I think it's the number.
Check 1, 2.
Did that work? I'll try to figure it out.
I didn't put this here, just the same.
Yeah, it's one, the number one, Town Hall Plaza.
But is there a space?
No,
Oh, okay. That's what I did, I tried it.
I think it's all lowercase, right?
yeah, all lowercase.
All lowercase.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think I did, but I'll try.
And it's Town of Mount Pleasant, the Wi-Fi, the name of the Wi-Fi.
The number one, Town.
Town Hall Plaza, Plaza, like spelled out. Work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably did it wrong last time. You know, it doesn't let you see what you're typing.
Yeah,
You know, sometimes it has a little I and.
the dots, yeah.
This one it doesn't. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All set?
Yep.
Good evening. Could I ask you to please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's town board meeting. It is November 7th, 2022. First thing on our agenda is the authorization to adopt a preliminary budget. The town clerk has received a copy, and the town board has received a copy for their review. So this will just adopt the preliminary, Resolution 41222.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is call for a public hearing for the preliminary budget for the public to address it. We have what's the next date we could have the
The 22nd of November.
November 22nd at 8 p.m. So November 22nd will be a public hearing for the 23 budget.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is to call for a public hearing to annex 159 Pleasantville Road into the Pleasantville Water District. Request is made by petitioner for annexation into the Pleasantville Water District due to a recent water main break. The existing resident approved this petition and will pay fees associated with the installation of a new meter and meter pits.
Move for approval, please.
We just got a November, we'll do November 22nd also.
Yes.
So November 22nd, we will have a public hearing for annexing 159 Pleasantville Road into the Pleasantville Water District. Motion by Lori, right?
Second. Second. Oh, sorry, Tom.
That was a tie, but I'm going to give it to Tom this
Yeah, give it
time.
to Tom.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, purchase order 16222-42. Plan review for interior alterations for Regeneron building located at 777 Old Sawmill River Road in Terrytown. I'm sorry? Yeah, that would help if I did that one, huh? Jumped it. Sorry. Thank God for town clerks, huh? Let's go back to number 4. Call for a public hearing to consider a proposed local law to add section 218-74.1 to chapter 218, add a schedule of regulations regarding the OB Master Development Plan District to the town code and an amendment to the town zoning map and amend portions of section 218-63.2 related to the North 60 project. So we got a public hearing on that. You want to do November, same day, November 22nd.
3 and 1.
Move for approval?
Motion by Jerry,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, the plan review for the alterations to the Regeneron building at 777 Old Sawmill River Road. Thank God for Regeneron for all the work that they're doing in the town of Mount Pleasant. Plan review is by JHW Plan Review Services. Anytime we have a plan that's, some of these plans are big rolls of plans and you need a crew to figure them out. Anyway, the total cost for the plan review is $7,965. The cost of the project is $3,600,000. The permit fee is $54,090.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next items, 6, 7, 8, and 9 have to do with our master plan and Envision Mount Pleasant. Just for some clarification, we've had some email communications going on throughout the town board and through residents. I want to ask our legal consultant, Darius Chapizada, if you believe that we have followed the letter of the law through this past 4-year process. We've had the proper public hearings, followed the secret process, and are you comfortable recommending us to move forward?
Yes, we have, and you have.
Town board members, I ask you, are you all comfortable moving forward with these 4 items for our master plan? You know, we have discussed this extensively for over 4 years. I want to make sure you're all comfortable where we're at and what we're intending on doing this evening.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes, after 4 years of doing research and thoroughly researching this and getting a lot of input from the public, I'm very comfortable. Thank you.
Danielle?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. Jerry?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. First item is authorization to adopt CEQA finding statement for the Mount Pleasant Comprehensive Plan, Envision Mount Pleasant, and the Hamlet Zoning Code.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle.
Second.
Jerry, you got this
I got
one.
this one.
Jerry got it?
I
All
got
in
it.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, authorization to adopt the Mount Pleasant Comprehensive Plan, Envision Mount Pleasant.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to adopt revisions to Mount Pleasant zoning code by adding new section 218-68A entitled Hamlet Zoning, the new H zone.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to adopt amendment to the town zoning map.
Make a motion for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is authorization to adopt increased income limits for aged exemption. The county has changed the numbers, so the town has to follow suit. I believe the school will have to follow eventually and do that also. These are for senior citizens 65 years or older. New income scale will be as follows. 50,000 or less will be eligible to receive a 50% exemption. 50,001 to 50,999 will eligible for a 45% exemption. 51,000 to 51,999 will be eligible for a 40% exemption. 52,000 to 52,999 will be eligible for a 35% exemption. 53,000 to 53,899 will be eligible for a 30% exemption. $53,900 to $54,799 will be eligible for a 25% exemption. $54,000 to $55,699 will be eligible for a 20% exemption. $55,700 to $56,599 will be eligible for a 15% exemption. $56,600 to $57,499 will be eligible for a 10% exemption, and $57,500 to $58,400 will be eligible for a 5% exemption. If you didn't write that down, you don't have to worry. It'll be on our town's website. Resolution 421 will establish these new exemptions.
Move for approval, please?
Motion by Jerry,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to enter into an agreement with Stripe for credit card gateway and processing for new building software. With the new building software, we're setting up a process where you could pay online and fill out your permits and all online and pay with a credit card. So this company, Stripe, works with the, OpenGov? It works with OpenGov, so it's a seamless process there where they work together. So this resolution will allow us to make an agreement with Stripe for credit card gateway and processing for the new building software.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization for funding commitment by the town board to the Elwood Avenue Streetscape Project for acceptance of a $100,000 grant under the state multimodal program. We have to commit to this so that we can be awarded the grant.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Authorization to enter into an agreement with New York State DOT for a multimodal grant. This is another grant that we're seeking for our downtown. Has to do with the roads.
Move for approval, please?
Motion by Jerry,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Authorization is sought to provisionally promote Madeline DeRientis to the title of Senior Office Assistant, Office Manager in the Building Department with salary and benefits to be dictated by the CSEA White Collar Agreement.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to appoint Eileen J. McLean to the Planning Board effective November 8th, 2022. Eileen is very well educated in the planning. She is with White Plains at this time. She would be a welcome appointment to fill in the vacancy we have on the Planning Board. So we're happy to appoint Eileen to this position on the Planning Board effective November 8th.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our investment report, current rate of interest is 2.8%. We have our receiver of taxes report, and we have town board minutes for September 28th, October 11th, and October 25th. Right now, we have business from the floor. Anyone who wishes to address the board is welcome to do so at this time.
Jim Russell from Hawthorne. It's a sad day for the town of Mount Pleasant when its town board votes for a master plan and zoning code without previous hearing or a build-out analysis. However, there fortunately exist laws specifically designed to review and nullify, when appropriate, the decisions such as these votes we have just witnessed. We've also heard the board call for a public hearing on the North 60 project, a much smaller project than the one that we have in town here now. And for that, there's a public hearing scheduled, and there also was a build-out analysis done. In our situation, we have 287 parcels on 135 acres, which could result in 5,000 new residents over the next 5 to 15 years, and a large number of new students as well. On today's agenda, it's interesting that number 12 talks about the Elwood Avenue Streetscape project, and that prompted me to do a little looking on the internet, and I came up with two documents, one from 2016, one from 2021. The one from 2016 seems very much like the process that we've just seen through here about the plan and the code. In fact, that one talks about transforming Hawthorne downtown into a mixed-use commercial area, a vibrant year-round downtown because it already has key existing components. And on page 7, or page 6, these elements provide a perfect location for rental apartments at a variety of levels of affordability. And it talks about modifying the zoning codes in the downtown area. This is all from 2016. This is even before the 2018 meetings that were held. So these are plans that have been in effect for a long time, and they seem to be moving towards a DRI, a Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which could bring the town $10 million to redevelop Hawthorne into a thriving metropolis almost. Something that's not now, something that people in this town have never asked for and don't even know about these documents. So I think it'll behoove us to look into these things so we can partake and give our opinions on what's happening in the future of our town. Thank you.
Did you sign in?
I think I've done this long enough, I know the routine. Now, my name's Gloria Newman, 171 Kensico Road. Okay, you'll have to forgive me, I'm going in for oral surgery tomorrow. So the fact that I'm here means that this means a lot to me. And it means a lot to them, and although they're not here and they're probably watching on TV, if you look at my page, the discussion group for the form-based code, you'll see that a lot of us are not as informed as you think you've done over the past 4 years. Now, Carl, you've asked me to look into your history in one post that we had a discussion on Facebook. I did, and yes, you've kept our taxes and our expenditures rather low, and I appreciate that. But you can't guarantee that's going to happen with an infusion of 5,000 people and students. I stand here flabbergasted that you would pass something that doesn't even have the impact study, the environmental impact study, a real one. You've just got some fictitious made-up one with some, we'll pick some numbers here, pick some numbers there, and it kind of looks good to us. I would like to see a true, real environmental impact study on what it would cause to our EMS, which is a volunteer service, our fire, which is another volunteer service, our police department, and our infrastructure. Now, you talk about infusing all these people into our town. I don't see you talking about building more parks where these children are going to hang out. You do remember all the Facebook chatter a couple of summers ago with the kids hanging out at Rose Hill, because there is no place for our children to go. So what's going to be your plan with these really great big apartment buildings and all the kids hanging out on the corner? It's starting to look like Yonkers. It's not why we moved here. What you should be embracing is first-time home buyers. You've got all this land. You can have quarter-acre subdivisions and make little homes instead of ginormo McMansions. I don't see you doing that. I see you putting up apartment buildings to infuse what?
We're not putting any apartment buildings.
No, you're
Just to
allowing,
clarify
you're
that.
allowing the
And
apartment buildings to
We're
go
not bringing
in.
5,000 people.
Let's go to
in.
Victor's. How is it that
Stop
Victor's,
misleading the public.
how is it that Victor's falls into this new code miraculously?
No, it's got by the existing code.
It's the existing code and the future code that you're proposing.
The existing code allows for a 2.5-story building, apartment building, whatever it may be.
2.5
Somebody can
stories.
go do that right now.
Right.
The only change is now it's 3 stories, but now they have to follow guidelines, sidewalks, open outdoor space, parking requirements, the look of the building. People can put up a 2.5-story apartment building on any of these hamlets today without anything. They could put up a hot pink building with a blue door.
Absolutely.
And we could do nothing about
But
it.
a 2.5-story building is not the same occupancy volume as a 3.5-story or 4-story building.
We didn't approve. We approved a 3-story. There's only a 4-story for 10 parcels behind the train station. We only approved 3 stories.
Okay, but this form-based
If they
code, if gone through, is allowing them to not go before a planning board. It allows.
That's not true.
It's not true?
No,
Are we
not
sure?
true.
Okay.
That's false, 100%
Okay,
false.
okay. So I stand corrected by you. But still, you're infusing all these people, and it has to have a look, and it has to have the sidewalk. I don't hear parks. I don't hear areas of recreation for the people who are going to be, living in these areas, and these people are going to be working, and their children are going to be hanging out and doing things. And I'd like to know what more you're going to do. If you're going to revitalize downtown, what about revitalizing the parks? You did a great job at Carroll Park, but there's still no swings for older children. It's infants and I think handicap only. It's not a park for everybody. Where are we supposed to send the kids? And again, I'd still like to see an environmental impact study, a legit one, that would address our EMS, our fire, our teachers, our students, our education. I think I've learned that Hawthorne is 30% over capacity, and our entire school district is over 100% capacity. So with this infusion of people, Victor's, behind the train station, where are these kids going to go to school? Without our taxes going up, we don't get new teachers, we don't get larger buildings, we don't get better facilities, and our education goes down. We're not top anymore, and we need to get back there. And that needs to be also this town's priority, is what happens to our children. I thank you for your time.
Mr. Supervisor, there is a provision in the master plan related to open space, trailways.
Railways are our parks.
I don't know who it is.
Unfortunately, you have a lot of misinformation. Talk about 5,000 people coming in. I hope we see some improvement within the next 10 years. That's what I would like to see, some improvement. But to actually believe and to try to mislead people and tell people that 5,000 people are magically going to appear in the town of Mount Pleasant, that's not right to say that to people.
Mr. Supervisor, if I may, too, we talked about this last meeting. This is a proposed, a potential building that could be developed at a site at 423, 429 Commerce. This is the after, what it could look like. Here is the before of the property. You'll see it's multi-family buildings already there. And the concept we talked about a few weeks ago, I don't know if everyone was here, was to make it look nicer. These buildings are kind of old and need to be redone. So you'll see the density is actually probably less than is existing, but it's nicer. As the supervisor indicated, the sidewalks, there's public space requirements. You'll see there's parking around back instead of how the parking is now where people just kind of haphazardly throw their cars. So there's specific designs of how things need to be built. They talk about awnings, they talk about signs, they talk about needing parking, they talk about needing open space, fixing improvements to the buildings. So the thought process of development increasing the density of the town, it's not the goal, actually, it's the opposite goal. See, what happens is there's a lot of open space in the town that I think the town board wants to retain, where people are not building these very large subdivisions that could impact the school. We know there was one that was before the planning board a few years ago, and the school district opined on it. But you know, and I think Councilwoman Zeno indicated right now, this is the one at 500 Commerce. That's under the current code. So for years, the buildings have allowed that. We actually the planning board got to this one and was able to indicate how they wanted it built with the sidewalks, the parking hidden underneath. See, this is only 2 stories of development, and it's a very large site, but that's allowed today. So what the board was trying to do with the master plan and with the amended zoning for the hamlet areas only, no changes happened at the residential areas in the residential districts. Because what do we have in this area? We have adequate water, adequate sewage. So now if someone wants to build on top of a building, now they know what will look good and what the town wants. But they can do it now, and they don't even need, all they need is a building permit. We're requiring to come in, meet with everybody, and go over what they're proposing so we can monitor it and make sure it looks how it should look. And it's not the plan to increase density. You don't see these increased density in municipalities when they redo zoning. And this is just a small area. It's not a redoing of the zoning code. The zoning code remains. Also, this is not a situation where you have an appreciable difference in size of buildings. Right now, as Councilwoman Zeno indicated, there's 2.5 stories allowed in the downtown area. A lot of times they can get variances for half a story to go to 3 stories, which you have now. And a lot of 3-story buildings if you go and look in the downtowns. So what this does now is it's not going to, you know, have an influx of developments. You don't see that. You didn't see what happened. You're not going to see what happens in New Rochelle here. What happened in New Rochelle, they went from, and the numbers are not exact, 3 stories in the downtown to 40 stories. That's the difference. That's what, and also in Newcastle, they proposed, I think initially it was 6 or 7 stories. So it was a big difference. And they came in initially here, the committee proposed 4 and 5 stories. And I think right away this was shut down because they didn't want to turn it into that kind of place. They didn't want to increase the density to impact the school district. What they've had in the town has been smart growth for the commercial areas. You know, we have the new Pepsi building here. We have the new Regeneron development that's continuing over on off of 9A there. There's the Amazon facility. These are no impact on schools and significant financial impact to the Mount Pleasant School District. I think alone, the Amazon facility will be $1 million a year with not one school child coming into the school district. So, I mean, there's a plan, there's a thought. They're not just saying, make this huge buildings in the downtown. We don't care about the school district. I know we're in constant communication with the superintendent of the school district too. And I understand here's the president of the school board right here. So, not to take away your thunder to speak, but I just wanted to clarify a few things. If that's okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Horan. I'm the president of the Mount Pleasant Central School District. We appreciate the town board's desire to improve upon the conditions in our hamlets. We think you have the best interest of the town in mind. But as an interested party, we are here tonight as neighbors and the organization responsible for educating our public school students. Class size is important to us and to our community, and the capacity we have to teach our resident children are primary concerns as we move forward together. We have appreciated the relationship with the town board and the supervisor, and we look forward to working together in the future. As the town board moves forward with planning, we ask that you keep the following in mind. Our current operational student capacity, we did a capacity and density study at our schools. I think the superintendent shared that, some of that information with some of you. At our Hawthorne School for 2021-2022, we're at 103% capacity. We don't have any more room really to put any more students. And that range from 2022 to 2031 will be between 96 and 105%. Going down to Columbus, we're at 87% capacity this year. The next 10 years, we're from 82 to 88%, which is still on the high side for a school. The middle school and high school drop a little lower. We're looking okay right there for now. The middle school's at 69% capacity and the high school at 68%. And over the next 10 years, we're looking at 68 to 74% at the middle school and 64 to 72% at the high school. So the elementary schools are where we're really busting at the seams. Our concerns for capacity are real and not resolving into the future at this point. Our enrollment projections, our peak enrollment is expected to occur within the next 3 to 5 years, and that's without accommodations for significant development on various properties throughout Mount Pleasant. So our ask, what we're asking you tonight, we appreciate our relationship, the relationship that we have with the town, and we ask that as plans move forward for any future residential development, that we be advised early, consulted often, and invited to a seat at the table to inform the town board of the potential fiscal, physical, and instructional impacts to our operations and enrollment as we understand them. We just want to sit down and talk with you about that stuff as it happens. As community partners, we look forward to our continued conversations on behalf of our students. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I know this board has full intentions of making sure we work with the school district. Whatever we can do to help improve the system, the situation that you have, we're going to do that. We could work with developers. Maybe we can get developers to work with us and the school to make improvements. So that's where we're going to go. But you'll never be left out of the equation. I guarantee that.
I just want to add that 23 years as administrator in the Mount Pleasant School District, I feel exactly the same way. We're not looking to over the capacity of any of the schools in the district. So, that's number one on our priority. And again, getting back to the beginning is, if we did not do this at all, contractors and builders can come in and develop every piece of property that's there already without us doing a thing. We're just setting some guidelines more specific to how everything's going to look, and we have more control over it. But like I said, they can come in and they can just go up another floor, or they can just redo their buildings, and we'd have the same issue, except now we can control it better. But the school district is always a first priority in my mind.
Agreed.
Just state your name and address, please.
My name is Cindy Delfino. I am the president and CEO of the YMCA of Central and Northern Westchester. Do you know how big a deal this is for childcare in this community tonight? Now we are able to partner with the Holy Name of Jesus School and provide much-needed childcare in Mount Pleasant. We even can work with the school districts to offer UPK classes, if that would be possible, as we offer them in 3 other districts in Westchester County. The Office of Children and Family Services has designated Mount Pleasant a desert area for childcare. Now we have that beautiful school, and we're going to be able to help children and families have reliable, safe childcare and get to work and not worry about a thing. So thank you. You really did a great thing, and we want to let you know how much we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else like to address the board?
Hi, I'm Rob Musial, a resident of Hawthorne, 316 Marietta Avenue, and I've signed in. Okay, so I've been a resident for 25 years here in Hawthorne. Just a couple of concerns, plus I emailed you guys today, so I don't know if anybody's read your emails since this morning.
But it wasn't I don't believe it was your name. I thought it was Carmela Musial.
Both.
I will check again, thank you.
Okay. So I guess to Jim's point and a few others here, I guess one of the things I kind of agree with Jim about, recommending a board postponement on this, all right? I guess some of the concerns that I have are, one thing, has there been an outside entity that's kind of looked over and provided some of the pros and cons of this? Just that's a question.
Have you followed the process at all the past 4 years?
A little bit.
Because
A little bit. yeah.
everything is on the website, and it's been on the website for 4 years.
Yeah.
From the beginning. And it tried to show we were very transparent in what we were going through for the past 4 years.
Right. I did try to look through that 800-page document, all right? It would be more helpful if there was some sort of a summary executive sheet that you could kind of look at to get a better feel of, everything kind of condensed rather than,
Well, the town attorney actually did an excellent presentation about 2 weeks ago, which kind of summarized the whole thing also,
right.
the whole
But
process.
Was
There
that the
was an
first-
outside agency too, Pace University Law
Right.
Center, Clary Consulting, Traffic Consultants.
Is this posted up on the website?
It's
as
all on
well?
the Envision Mount Pleasant. Yeah,
Something like a summary then? And that's been there for a while?
the
Since
summary's all over.
2018 or?
From the beginning, yeah. Well, your presentation is also on the website.
I couldn't find this
It's
bulletin.
Envision Mount Pleasant. Did you get that website page?
Envision Mount Pleasant is
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the website.
yeah.
It's
I
got
was
it's got a couple-minute video on top of sort of the basics.
It's right on the homepage.
But it's a bulletized
Is it on
type
the
of
page?
a
No, it's
summary?
actually
It's a video.
the video of
Yeah.
what the summary is. Yeah, of 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
All right. Well, I guess one of the other major concerns that I have is over congestion, and we've kind of heard a few other people mention that. And, 5,000 residents, I don't know if there's any validity to that. But can you give me an idea of what is the projected increase?
If I was able to project that, I wouldn't need this job.
Well, there
There's
has
no
to
way-
be some
there's-
sort of a
There's
projection.
no way of knowing that. We have no
Well,
idea.
if there's no way of knowing, then how could you just take something on and approve it if
Kyle,
we don't have an
let me try to
idea?
jump in a little bit. So, what happens is the zoning now is in place, which is the CNR zone in most of this area. They allow basically 3 stories, right? The new zoning came in, is proposed here for these hamlet areas only, very distinct areas, 287 parcels only. Of those 287 parcels, you don't have a blank slate. It's not empty. They're all, by and large, built out in some way or form, whether it's a gas station, whether it's residential homes, like I said. So you don't have empty properties. The North 60 is empty. So you can figure out, okay, I got X square feet, I know there's X number of people. But there's no appreciable change here from what is allowed today versus what's going to happen potentially over the next 3-4 decades. What it allows, though, this code, the purpose of it, is to say, okay, this is the type of buildings we want to see, the type of signs, the type of development. To guess on a total output, you can't say there's 5,000 new people because there's 15 units in one project. That's a large piece of property. When there's every property, I mean, you're from here for 25 years, you know there's not empty properties pretty much anywhere in the downtown areas. They're all either filled with multifamily homes, commercial properties, that gas stations for congestion and traffic may change if it goes residential. So it's very difficult to estimate the number of new people coming in. What happens is when a project like the one at 500 Commerce comes in, goes to the planning board, they do an analysis under SECRA, a site-specific analysis.
What is 500 Commerce?
That's this one here, that's being built now.
The old Victor's property.
Oh,
Liberty
okay.
Commerce.
So what happened, that went to the planning board. Planning board does an analysis. Okay, you have whatever number of units.
How many stories is that?
That's 3 stories. They got a half a story variance with 2 stories of residences in that. Bottom floor is all parking, kind of hidden away. You wouldn't even notice. It's kind of it'll look interesting when.
I mean, maybe it's just what I'm used to, but it looks, is that my time?
Yeah, but
I didn't know I had a
But
time.
we can.
Should I let my partner come up and finish my half?
But when they're built, when something wants to be built, or is
Yeah.
contemplating to be built, there's an analysis of that project at that time.
Okay.
Is it impacting the schools? Is it impacting traffic? Where's the entrance point going to be? Where's the exit point going to be? Where's the parking going to be? Where's the open space going to be? That's all done at the time. When you have a blank slate or you go up a number of stories that don't allow, let's say the zoning code allowed 2 stories today. Then all of a sudden we say there's 10. Okay, so you're adding 8 stories to every building in the downtown. You can do an analysis on that. You can say, okay, average of whatever, 30 units times the 280, you can do an analysis, but there's no appreciable increase from today to what's allowed now with the new code. And secondly, the buildings are there and built out already. So that's why they do a site-specific analysis when the project comes in, if it ever comes in. People may leave their properties as they are. The gas station guy needs to keep his gas station. The current buildings, they don't want to make them nicer. That's sort of
I'll leave one last thought. You know, we have a lot of existing infrastructure, say, like when you're heading to the Four Corners. You know, I walk to ShopRite once in a while, right? There's no sidewalks. It's pretty dangerous. I don't know, is that in the plan? That's
Oh, yeah.
number one.
Yep.
And some of the existing infrastructure, you see weeds 4 feet high. We can't even maintain what we have, you know, in some of the cleanliness and garbage that's out. You know, when we start adding to this, what's to convince everybody here that we're going to be able to maintain that when we can't even maintain what we have? I mean, I'm sure other people drive by, you know, heading towards the Four Corner area, and they can see the same weeds and garbage that I see. Why don't we maintain that? Why don't we enforce those ordinances that should be in existence already?
No, you're right. The property owners should be more responsible.
But why
for their
aren't we
properties.
pushing that then? And it's been like that for years, years.
The building department does file violations for different property owners. If we get a complaint in, then we address it. We just don't go around town looking for violations. But if there's a complaint filed, the building department will address it.
Okay, but it is a concern.
No, you're right.
I can appreciate that, Mr. Musial, but what I can also appreciate is that many of us here are veterans and lived in town a long time. I've been here since 1964. That's a long time. However, I will say, the master plan, if you spend some time and research the town of Mount Pleasant, the master plan hasn't been updated since 1970. You're just alluding to the fact that that commerce to Elwood, from Hawthorne to Thornwood corridor, is not attractive. And for anyone moving in the town or coming to look to move into the town, if they were to take that entrance, let's put it out there, would you want to live here? If you took that entrance into the town of Mount Pleasant,
Which entrance are you talking about?
if you came off the Bronx River Parkway and you came on Commerce and you drove past all the commercial buildings there and you continued to go up toward ShopRite and you really took a critical look, is that something that you feel is attractive? I mean, you're just mentioning now sidewalks, weeds.
No, so I think some of the ideas in the plan may work. I think the concern is the size of the buildings. Like, for example, that one on Victor's, it just, maybe I'm just not used to seeing it like that, but it looks huge, humongous.
You know, it's
And it is a
interesting you should,
concern.
and I can appreciate that, but what I can also say is we have not seen the finished product yet, okay? That, I've heard the same comments from people that live within the village of Pleasantville. Now remember, Pleasantville has their own government, their own planning department, their own mayor, they make their own decisions. This is the town of Mount Pleasant. We're talking about the commercial areas. Will there be 5,000 people that flood the gates to come into Mount Pleasant in the next 5 years? I highly doubt it,
I agree with that.
okay? Well, I'm
But-
glad we agree with
But
something.
there must be some increase expected.
There is some increase
projection,
expected.
right? Because you took Victor's, there's no family, and now there's 16.
Yes,
So
and that is.
that
is-
may propagate down the line in the future, and I think that's the concern. Once the gate is open, there's no going back.
But you'll also take a look and realize we have an older generation and an older residential housing stock, and that will turn over also. So we're very aware, as the supervisor has said, as everyone here on the town board, and we all live here, have said, we're acutely aware of what will happen in two areas that are very much important: school district, school population, and our emergency services. Not only our paid services, but our volunteer services. Volunteerism is down. We don't know how to change that. That seems to be a national trend. It's going to have to be looked at. However, this plan, if you take a look at it and you really decipher it, yeah, it's 800 pages, and each one of us here has been through it. In addition, we've been through the zoning pamphlet or booklet with those changes. It's our responsibility, and we've done our due diligence, we've done the work. So I'm asking you and everyone here to take a look, step back, really look at what we're saying. It's the commercial districts that we are changing, or hoping to change and develop to improve Mount Pleasant. Nobody sitting up here wants anything more than to improve this town. So I leave you with that thought, and I appreciate you stepping up.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only project before the town board, you're all familiar with the Baker project on the Legionnaires' property, which was proposed a number of years ago. That was approved for, I think, for 70 single-family homes. That didn't go anywhere. Right now, Toll Brothers has another proposal for that property. The town board has made it very clear what we would like to see there. Our desire would be 55 and older community. That's what we would like to see on that property. We're going to push as hard as we can. When we get to that point, the school will be part of the equation. The school will be part of anything, any proposal that comes before us moving forward. We're very well aware of where the school is at and what their needs are. So it would not be any benefit to anybody on this town board to ignore the school's needs, and we will not.
Well, on that project, I already spoke to the attorney for the school board last week. We had a detailed discussion about it. So we're in Tom Scaffold, your attorney. He knows about it.
Carl, even the discussion of the North 60, the phases of that, we had a discussion with the superintendent of schools about what the impact would be on the housing that was proposed there initially, and we made a massive adjustment in that because we knew the number of children could possibly be coming to the school from that North 60.
Yep.
Yep.
That project started over 12 years ago, and we kept cutting it down, cutting it down, cutting it down. We're not there yet. We're not totally finished with that project, but from the original request, and the request for residential housing started 600 residential units was a suggestion by a study group that said that's what you need in Mount Pleasant. Well, we didn't agree with that. So we told the North 60, you're going to start with phases. First phase, we're only allowing, I think, 98 units, and it's studios and one bedrooms. So, and it's supposed to be focused primarily on the people that work in the medical field there, professors, scientists, whatever. So, and it basically does not generate families in those type of facilities. Anybody else wish to address the board?
Good evening. I'm Carmela Musial. I'm a resident of Hawthorne. Carmela Musial, a resident of Hawthorne. So I just wanted to echo some of the points my husband Rob made. Also, I have a picture because I have gone through this 700 and something page project and tried to look at it carefully. Initially, I was very excited about the Envision project because it's going to beautify our town and our town areas for sure. But I am very concerned about slipping in some of the greater building projects that a lot of residents that I've spoken to were not aware of. And it's because we work and we simply don't have the time, like you guys do as your job, to be aware of every single, amendment to the plan. It's just not possible. And I think it's reasonable to understand by the board that as members of the community, with our jobs and families, that we couldn't possibly know everything that's going into it. And so I apologize. I haven't been to every meeting. I've been to another meeting and did speak there. I didn't really get a really true answer to my question at that meeting, and that was over a year ago, regarding the impact of new smaller businesses that might come in, attracting people from outside the town of Mount Pleasant, and therefore they're going to need parking. When you're bringing people in from the outside, what impact will that have on the town in terms of the services of the police, fire department, ambulance, etc. I also just took a picture. This maybe you have already voted down, as you mentioned, the 4 stories, because this is on the Envision on the website. So I wasn't sure if this is out. So maybe I can just show you, and then you can confirm that this is not in the plans.
No, that's not, I think that's, you might have to make it bigger. Show it down there.
Forest area is limited to west of the train tracks. It's, I don't know, 8 to 10
But that's
parcels.
not,
That's it.
that's not a real,
That's the older map.
it's not even depicting
This is on
exactly
now.
what-
It's a picture.
It's just a
of-
picture.
It's a rendering of buildings.
Oh.
It's a
So,
rendering of buildings.
so the 4 stories will be allowed where?
West of the railroad tracks.
Oh, so there will be 4-story in the hamlet of Hawthorne? Okay, because
if
it was
they meet-
unclear, I
if-
think.
If they meet certain criteria.
If they potentially, okay, because I think before, what you stated sounded like 2.5, but with 3 with a variance, so I just wanted to clarify, there
That's
will
what it is
be
now.
That's the current
4-story. That's
The
the
new code
current,
is 3 stories with that one section west of the railroad tracks could go for 4.
Okay.
They have to meet
that's
certain
by where, that's by
requirements.
Dan's Nick Studios in the gravel yard.
Yes, down by
Okay,
Broadway.
so there could be 4-story buildings there.
Yes,
If they get approved.
Is that
if they
correct?
get approved.
If they're
They still have to,
approved.
And
right.
to get the
Okay.
density, they need to do certain things.
Yeah, this is the criteria.
Public access, things like that.
And not more than 4 stories?
No,
Okay, but 4 stories is possible, because I wanted to make that clear, because I think that was maybe,
only on that one strip, which is
right,
about 10
right,
properties.
but that's still right in the hamlet where we live. So I just wanted to make that clear. Okay. So with regard to Mrs. Smalley's comment, and I appreciate, people who've lived here for well before I have. I've also started living, my life living in the Bronx for 12 years, and then another 12 years in Eastchester and southern Westchester. And in both places, I could see the results of sort of unfeathered growth, fettered growth, if you will, what it does to traffic congestion, and the influence on police, fire, ambulance, etc. It's not great. It's not a great thing. What we have here is unique and very special in this town. And I can tell you that because I've lived, like I said, in the Bronx, in Lower Westchester, and now here. And to your point, when people come in and they look at Commerce Street, are they going to want to live here? The answer? A resounding yes, because you can sell a shoebox in this town that needs a full rehab for $700,000. Yet, if you go to places like Armonk and the Byram Hill School District, you will actually get more for your money than you do in this town. Why? Because people like it. They like the cute little houses we have in the hamlet of Hawthorne. My husband and I walk very frequently. We walk to ShopRite. We walk throughout our town. We're very familiar with what it's like. I feel comfortable walking in the dark in the town, although I don't by myself. I feel very comfortable walking with my husband and my friends, and I like it to stay that way. And so I realize that to do that, it requires me to come here and to appeal to you to say, let's be very careful with whatever building and what we introduce into this town, which right now, my children went to school here, all 3 of them. They got an excellent education. They all are excellent in music. We have great programs in this school. My daughter was accepted into Cornell University. She chose not to go because, of course, we didn't get a dime in financial aid, and she didn't want her parents to spend $80,000 a year in tuition and room and board. So she chose to go to a state school, Binghamton University. This is a situation of a lot of people in this town. We want to build up the town so our kids can get into these Ivy League schools. We want everything to be the best this, the best that. But we are not Bronxville. We are not Ridgefield. Okay? This is not a town of doctors, lawyers. Maybe you want it to be, but it's not. We are regular people, regular working people. And so what we want here is to sort of preserve what we have and to know what our limitations are. So I can tell you, when my husband and I frequently walk through many towns in Westchester and even outside of Westchester, Greenwich, Ridgefield, Mamaroneck, you name it. One thing I can tell you is the really beautiful towns that you want to model this town after, they have sidewalks that are about 12 feet wide. I can't see that happening on Commerce Street. So you have to be careful. If you want people to come, those places have 2-story buildings. Bronxville, Ridgefield, the places where all the people congregate. 2 stories, not 3, not 4. You can still have a very popular, attractive town without having multiple stories. But you need very wide and large sidewalks. So you need to figure out how you're going to do that if you're going to attract the kind of, the people in the town to be able to walk in the town. Thank you.
Bronxville does hire 4 or 5.
In
apartments.
some other parts of the town, but on the main drag in Pondfield.
Pondfield,
Yeah.
Midland Avenue.
Yeah, Midland does. again, do we want it to be like Bronxville where you can't find a parking space and if you park somewhere, you're going to get a parking ticket in 5 minutes?
Just a point of clarification.
You sit in a restaurant and then you look and see the parking meter maid come and put a ticket on your car. We're there all the time. I know it because we're from there. So,
I grew up
you
in
know,
Chester, so I know.
yeah. So, you know, you do have to be careful. Again, Bronxville, a perfect example. And can our town residents afford $50,000 probably average home taxes like you have in Bronxville? So regardless of all the businesses that you've attracted to Bronxville, you cannot get away from $40,000 and up property taxes for the average home, and some as high as $120,000 taxes and more in Bronxville. It is not sustainable in this town. We are not the same community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else like to address the board?
Yes. Can you just sign in, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And then if you could just state your name and address. Thank you.
Good evening, Gregory Dallinga, 149 Fauché Avenue. So first I just wanted to say thank all of you. As a newer member to the community, I moved here in 2019. I've had nothing but good experiences with everyone in the town, including all town employees. I've tried to attend meetings in the past. I've had nothing but good things to say about the board. I love where I live. My wife and I purposely looked for Mount Pleasant when we were searching for homes. I grew up down in Ardsley. My wife's from Jersey. I brought her to the good side of the river. But we purposely chose this area because when we first moved in together, we moved into Tarrytown. We then moved to Yonkers. I'm from Ardsley. Been in southern Westchester, working and living my whole life. The reason I chose this area was just to get away from the congestion, from the overcrowding in those lower areas, in places like Ardsley, Dobbs Ferry, even Tarrytown now. When looking at the presentation for this plan, I completely agree. I think that something does need to be done in the area, right? Because if you don't adapt, you are, for lack of a better term, going to die, right? I think that Mount Pleasant is in certainly a unique position because of its location within the county. We are very much centered in the county, and we are not overdeveloped yet. The reason that I kind of take issue with the presentation and with the focus here is because, as you've seen with COVID, people in my generation are actively searching out Mount Pleasant. There's people that I went to high school with actively searching out Mount Pleasant. I can't tell you how many people have moved into Mount Pleasant from my area, people that I know. Why? Because they want a house with a piece of property. By bringing in 3-story, 2.5-story, 3-story, some 4-story buildings with all rentals, I'm unsure of who we're supposed to target here, who are we trying to target. I know the presentation talks about targeting millennials, people like myself. It also talks about targeting senior citizens. What senior citizens from our town are going to sell their house, move into a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment where they're going to be spending upwards of $3,000 a month in rent? Because that's the realistic price point here. If you look at the other buildings, the other developments that were quoted, right? Like the development down in Tarrytown. You have $1 million townhomes there. You know, these are studio apartments that start at $3,000 a month rent. I don't see senior citizens moving there. I also don't see right now millennials moving into an apartment building in the middle of Mount Pleasant. Millennials are moving to Mount Pleasant to move to a home, to start a family. You can't start you're not going to start a family in a 2-bedroom apartment in Mount Pleasant, paying $3,000 a month in rent. A 2-bedroom apartment would probably be closer to $4,000. That's more than my mortgage currently. I do agree that parts, you know, maybe can be revitalized, but once again, what some of these people are saying is, you do need large sidewalks. You do need bigger parking areas. With this current plan, is that going to be possible? Maybe. Would it look great to have, you know, a big, you know, or to have things built up? Sure, but then we're not having a town. We're then having a city. That's essentially what, when you look at this plan, that's essentially what it looks like. It looks like you're changing down the hamlets from what could be a smaller, closer knit community to a city, essentially is what it's turning into. I think if you look at projects like the Tarrytown project, where you have these big developments, those were lands that were sitting there and waste. If you look at a Chappaqua Crossing, right? Chappaqua Crossing was the old Reader's Digest building. I'm sure everybody here knows about it. That area is so secluded from the rest of the town. This is completely different. To quote those projects, to quote the Rivers, whatever they're calling it in Dobbs Ferry, Rivers, Chauncey Square, excuse me, in Dobbs Ferry, to try and compare Chauncey Square and Dobbs Ferry to anything that resembles Mount Pleasant is laughable. You have a development off the side of the Sawmill that's completely secluded, not only from Dobbs Ferry, but completely secluded from Ardsley. So I guess I'm having trouble trying to visualize and see what, with this plan, what this town or what these hamlets are actually going to look like, because what they tried to refer it to doesn't fit the bill. It doesn't even look the same. It couldn't possibly be what those projects are. I wish you luck. I imagine it's going to pass. I am not thrilled about it. I don't think people in my generation would be thrilled about it. I honestly don't believe that it's going to pull people that in my generation here. I actually think it will probably have the reverse reaction. I think you see people going to other places. But only time will tell. The apartments will fill up, of course, because housing is needed. But what kind of people are we bringing in who, I don't see senior citizens moving, selling their house, moving there. I don't see millennials starting families there. That's my time. Thank you very, and once again, thank you all very much. I know it's a thankless job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
So I too have been here over 50 years. My name is Stephanie McGill, and I live on 51 Cleveland Place. I've been here for 55 years, actually. And I came back here. My parents are still here. I own properties here. I love this town. I'll never probably go anywhere else. I could live anywhere I want. I could live in Bronxville. I could live in Greenwich. I can live in Armonk. I could live in Chappaqua, but I chose to live here and raise my family here. My parents are still here, so I have a very close tie. My sister's here, my niece is here. We all went to Westlake. I went through the school system. My daughter did. She's out of the house, but now she wants to come back, and she's eyeballing those Pleasantville apartments. So that's the type of, I think young people are going to come and live in those apartments. They want that. They want to be close to the train. They have the Jacob Burns Center. They love that. People come from the city just to come up to Pleasantville. The other reason that I came back here was that Hawthorne has a train. It has a train, and I take the train, and I commute. My husband commutes. That's it. I chose my house because I wanted to walk to the train. It's horrible to walk to the train from Cleveland Place, off of Liberty. I live right by Victor's, which was once the Oriental Loa, which was a lot of things. Right. So I know the community. And I want change. I don't want to look at that anymore. There has been some improvements over the years. The small town, when we had the pharmacy, when we had the bank. Many of you don't know that. Elwood Market, all that. It was very tight. You could walk. You could walk to Pellegrino's. You could walk to the bakery. There were a lot of that. That's gone now. And I kind of want that back. But I also we lost 2 restaurants there. Belle Payes, that was one that I walked to. And now Victor's. And we have one left in Hawthorne. I don't know of any other one. Unionville, which was Gordo's, which was the Colonial Tavern. I can go on and on and on. And maybe that place too may close. I don't know. I'm not putting anything out there. I have no idea. But I'd like to see, I go to those places. I walk there. I don't need to drive. I don't want to drive. I'm getting older. I'm 55. I'm not going anywhere. I do have property that's undeveloped. Maybe one day I'm going to develop it. I don't know. But I will tell you this. There are doctors that live across the street from me. There are lawyers that live across the street from me. There are dental students that live across the street from me. Med students, young doctors doing their residencies over here in Grasslands. So to say that those people aren't coming, yes, they are. Do they have children? No, they don't. My street, no children. So they're living in two-family houses. They're paying top dollar to live here. So they could pay top dollar to live down the street in a nice apartment with amenities. My daughter, she would come back up here. And they will pay the money. And she's Gen Z. That's what I'm looking at. Young people will come. And I just think that this town needs a change. It needs to change. And I want the change. So I don't need a big sidewalk. I don't need that. I just need a sidewalk where I can walk from Liberty down to the train station. That's it. Where I don't have to constantly dodge traffic, cross the street. It's just, that's what I want. And that's not a long stretch. And this town did change. It changed when the town center was built, when it was the quarry. All of that. That wasn't here when I was growing up. None of that. But you, if you've come here in the last 25 years, you've been able to enjoy that. That wasn't here. So if you think that this town hasn't changed since you've been here or before, it has. And I think it should continue to evolve. And I'm fine with the apartments behind the train station. This is a train town. It's not Chappaqua, it's not Bronxville. But you know what? It can be a better train town. And that's what I have to say. So I'm glad that you passed it. Maybe nothing will come of this. It's taken this long. It's kind of remained the same for the last 30 years. It may never change. I don't know. But the option is there that somebody can come in and make those changes, and I'm fine with that. So I support it, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board? There being no further speakers, I'll move on to our town clerk's report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Thank you all for coming tonight. My town clerk's agenda, November 7th, 2022 town board meeting. Received and filed the Mount Pleasant Library Board September 15th, 2022 meeting minutes. The Town of Mount Pleasant 2023 tentative budget. Adopted 2023 budget for the Scarborough Fire District. The Westchester County Board of Legislators adopted legislation to remove 625 Chappaqua Road from the Sawmill Sewer District, and 4 zoning board resolutions for Tiffany Bennett, 8 Linden Place in Valhalla, Alan Matano, 2 Colony Glen Drive in Pleasantville, Vincent Medea, 190 Nannyhagen Road, Thornwood, and Josh and Lisa Tane, 6 Fox Run, Briarcliff Manor.
Thank you. Moving on to our council reports. Councilwoman Smalley.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, fellow board members, and the member of the public in Mount Pleasant. My report this evening is from the Comptroller. Comptroller's memo dated 11/7/2022. The first item, GF accounts receivable, MTA, Metro North, total $957.36. Receiver of taxes, Hudson Printing and Graphics for window envelopes for the tax rolls, total $1,035.93. Attorney, Harris Beach, PLLC, total $31,433.16. Building Town Hall, Demonsky Architecture, PLLC, total $2,250. Special Consulting Services, City of New York, DCAS Assessment Management, total, believe it or not, $1. Off-street parking, Midwestchester Lawn Services Incorporated, total $1,000. Central Garage, Bob's R&H Army and Navy, this is for uniforms for our staff, total $296.90. Public Safety, Daniel Franco, continuing education reimbursement as per the police contract, total $4,124. Safety Inspection, Certified Elevator Inspections Incorporated, total $1,650. Parks, D.F. Stone Contracting Limited for topsoil, total $828.80. Youth Sports, U.S. Sports Institute Instructors for Sports of Summer 2022, total $13,563.84. General repairs, again, this is for uniforms for employees, and Peckman Industries, Wingdale Properties, this all falls under general repairs, for a total of $20,296.20. Capital Building Improvements, Amazon Capital Services, there are quite a few entries, at least 20, and Capital Supply Construction Products, total $46,399.01. Capital, Kensico Road, Amazon Capital Services, CRP Sanitation Incorporated, Floorcraft Supplies and Warehouse Incorporated, Matthew Keating Materials for the American Legion, OLA Consulting Engineers. Peter J. Landy Incorporated, that's for the community center, parking lot, and road repair work. The total for this very large category is $609,289.25. Capital for the Joint Water District, Badger Meter, total $3,278.08. Capital improvements to the Pecanico Water District. This is for Capital Supply Construction Products, total $10,576. Kensico Capital Projects for, again, Capital Supply Construction Products, and William Anderson, DBA Prairie Dog Boring Equipment, total $60,103.37. Special Drainage District, Expanded Supply Products Incorporated, total $5,847.14. Mount Pleasant Consolidated Sewer District, Better Home Sewage Incorporated, total $3,600. That's for a service. We don't buy sewage. Okay? Pecanico Water District Number 1, Woodward and Curran Engineering, total $7,722.50. Kensico Water, Ross Valve Manufacturing Company, Badger Meter, and Peckham Industries, for a total of $12,715.80. Trust and Agency Escrow, there are 6 entries for Cleary Consulting for a total of $3,975. The grand total to pay this week's bills are $840,943.34. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item, excuse me, I jumped down to Councilman Schulman instead of Councilwoman Smalley. Hold on just a minute, please. I'm taking over there. Oh, no. Authorization for final lump sum payment for the town clerk department employee. The lump sum payment is based on the town employee Alexis Merlucci retiring from her position here and moving on. We wish her well in her new career. The total is per the contract, and it's $1,502.02. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I have one announcement, and it's a very important one. In the last few years, we have seen an increase in the amount of drug and alcohol overdose deaths within our nation. Mount Pleasant is not in a bubble. We see this also. Tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, there will be a Narcan training class. Everyone in the community is welcome to join us. It's sponsored by Pleasantville Strong, Town of Mount Pleasant Police Department, and I believe the Mount Pleasant Central School District is also very involved and committed to helping us end the scourge on our young people.
Lori, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Is it tomorrow night or Wednesday night?
It's Wednesday night. Oh, my goodness, I'm thinking here it is Tuesday. It is Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow is Election Day.
Don't forget to vote.
Please come. It is the professionals from Westchester County Department of Health will be putting on the training session. It is free. Come and learn. Hopefully, you'll never need to use Narcan, but just know that we would like you to be prepared in case it ever enters your world where you do need it. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Shulman.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, fellow board members. Good evening to the Town of Mount Pleasant residents present here this evening and at home. Personally, I would like to thank the members of the Town of Mount Pleasant residents for their continued involvement and asking questions and getting feedback to us over the last 4 years with the Envision plan, and just want to thank them for their involvement throughout the process. I'd like to begin with my 2 items through the Town of Mount Pleasant Police Department and Traffic Safety Division. The first one is from the Traffic Safety Division, Corey Antonecchia. It's purchase order 30-22-24, utility pole replacement. This is a replacement of a damaged utility pole down at the Hawthorne train station parking lot. The cost of this purchase order will be reimbursed because the pole was damaged by a vehicle accident. And the total cost is $5,434.65. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Jerry,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
My second and last item is from the Chief Oliva, from the Mount Pleasant Police Department, and this is an authorization to extend a conditional offer of employment to a full-time police officer candidate effective November 8th, 2022. And he is asking, this is an effort to fill a vacancy in the patrol force created by the assignment of full-time school resource officers. The police department has canvassed the resident police candidate list. Interviews were conducted, and one candidate has experience as a New York City police officer, passed the initial screening exams and ongoing background investigation. So Mr. Charles Klaus of Valhalla is the candidate that was selected by the command staff, and police department would respectfully request a conditional offer of employment for Mr. Klaus as a Mount Pleasant police officer. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Jerry,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Zano has the night off.
I have the night off. They felt bad for me downstairs.
Councilman Soriano.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My report is from the Highway Department. We have 2 items for you for this evening. We have a memo from Mr. Richard Benquit. He's our Superintendent of Highways. It's a purchase order, number 50-22-24, 2023, sanitation and recycling guides. It is my recommendation that we accept a quote from Tremont Offset Incorporated regarding the printing of 10,000 copies of the 2023 sanitation and recycling guides in the amount of $5,200 since they submitted the lowest quote. There was 3 quotes. This was the lowest quote. I move for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much, Mr. Supervisor. We have another item from the Highway Department. It's starting to load up.
Technical difficulties. There you go. You want to read mine?
Oh, I have it right here. Thank you. Again, for Mr. Richard Benquit, our Superintendent of Highways, who's doing an outstanding job. It's a street authorization to deposit a bond for a street opening permit number 6421. They received a check covering the bond amount for the following street opening permit. Has been forwarded to the Office of the Comptroller for deposit in the escrow account until the work being performed under the bond has been completed and the road restored to my satisfaction. Again, it was 6421. The name of the corporation is TKL Home Builders Incorporated. The bond amount was $8,000. I respectfully ask the board for a motion of approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I thank you. Have a great evening. Remember to vote tomorrow. And folks, like Jerry said, thanks for coming out with your feedback. We appreciate it. And have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. We have nothing from our town attorney this evening. Our schedule of meetings, our next work session will be November 15th at 7 p.m. The business session will be November 22nd at 7 p.m. And if there be no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Jerry. Tom and Jerry, always welcome that. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.